I'm Nova Han. I'm a creative director for music festivals, stage shows, concerts, and immersive experiences around the world. My work has been seen by hundreds of thousands at festivals like Coachella, Electric Forest, Burning Man, and Firefly. I've worked with artists like Deadmau5, Bass Nectar, and the String Cheese Incident. My job has me searching the globe to discover the industry's best artists in installations, performance, movement, set design, costumes, and emerging technologies to create some of the world's greatest live entertainment experiences. Audiences see the awe-inspiring spectacle of the final product, but they have no idea what it takes to get there. We the Creators explores the lives of the artists behind the magic, what drives them to do what they do, the sacrifices they've made, and the pain they've overcome to make art at any cost. Behind every great artist is an even greater story. This is We the Creators. Hi, and welcome to We the Creators, where our mission is to showcase the incredible artists in immersive arts and the epic journeys they took to get there. Today, we're with my friend Gerard Minakawa. Gerard is an aficionado and lover of bamboo. Being of Argentinian, Bolivian, and Japanese descent, he started his love for the material running a bamboo shop in Argentina for 3 years, partnering with Aids to Artisans, a nonprofit agency dedicated to developing the handicraft industry worldwide. With a formal education at Rhode Island School of Design, Minakawa founded Bamboo DNA, a design and fabrication company specializing in the creation and installation of large-scale environments built primarily with bamboo. Minakawa has been named one of the top 20 innovative U.S. designers by ID Magazine and has showcased his works at Coachella, Oregon Eclipse, Boom Festival, Electric Picnic, and Burning Man. Gerard is a leader, a teacher, an activist, an environmental designer, and a mentor to the community around him. This is Gerard.
Hi.
Cool. Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, it's awesome. This is only my second Zoom meeting.
What?
Yeah. I'm like pretty incognito, but I just did Zoom meetings with like my family. Yeah, because we were just with my niece and nephew. Actually, my last Zoom meeting was teaching art workshop for my niece's birthday. It's the second year in a row that I did or third year in a row doing art workshops.
That's so sweet. And you're out in Joshua Tree, right?
Yeah, I'm in Joshua Tree. Yeah. Okay,
cool. Yeah, I've been looking at properties out there lately, just trying to figure out the pivot. So good to know you're out there. Right on. So going back to just kind of like getting to know you and introducing you to our guests. One of the things that I love just about your background is that you come from immigrant parents, and I think that is a really strong story right now, especially what's happening in the world of how much that really enriches our experience as artists. And I'm kind of curious to know, and especially your parents, I feel like it's really interesting that you are a mix between Argentinian, Bolivian, and Japanese, which I feel like is kind of a little bit more of a more rare combo for their generation. So how was it just growing up, I guess, with biracial parents in the U.S. and, kind of the cultural standards that they came from? And did that really push you towards developing your artistic skills more or away? Or how did that kind of, I guess, influence you?
Well, yeah, I guess it is kind of a rare combination, but, they're a rare couple. My parents I'm actually at their house right now in Florida.
Oh, cool.
And, they've taught me so much. I don't know. It just felt very natural, like growing up in the United States. I guess maybe the ironic thing is when I was really young, I didn't feel like I was different. My parents made such an effort to assimilate into the American, like quote unquote American society, that for us, we actually didn't really feel that different. I mean, the really only clear difference between us and like most of the people we grew up with was our second language, Spanish. So we have always spoken Spanish in our family. And once we moved out of New York City, because that's where I was born, my brother and sister were all born in New York City, but we actually ended up moving to a suburb. My parents got a little bit freaked out from the city since they both got mugged on the same day.
Oh my God.
They were on, they just had this episode. They were thinking about it. We lived like in all the boroughs of New York City. And this is, back in the 70s. So they on their way to meet each other, they both got mugged like in different areas in the same day. And like, I think it was right after that, decided, let's just take them to a nice, quiet suburb in Pennsylvania, like a short distance from the rest of my family in New York City. But, we always traveled back to New York City, spent summers there. Obviously that's a melting pot. And then we make regular trips to South America, to Bolivia and Argentina.
That sounds badass. Yeah, but like, having, one of your, at least I can recognize the Asian side of parenting, right? Which is, and especially, my parents also being immigrants, like having certain standards for me as a child and really wanting to make sure that I become successful. They were certainly, I would say, supportive of me investigating the arts. But I remember when I first started, doing circus arts, they were just like, is this how you want to make a living? They were really concerned for me, and now that everything is fine. Well, it was before COVID, I'll say, but now everything's like more or less fine because I've been able to make a living. But like, did you find that like, growing up with immigrant parents, were they supportive of you being an artist?
That's a complicated question. It always is, so I kind of put myself in their shoes. Like, I'm not a parent, but say if I was a parent, I'd be quite nervous about my son or daughter, actively saying, I want to become an artist, because being an artist is like, in my mind, it's kind of inherently a risk. It's not sort of like the career path that is kind of drafted out and laid out for everybody. It's not truly like a really clear direction, like, some other professions. There's a lot of like making your own way, aspect to it. That can be really challenging when you're young. So they didn't discourage me, but they also didn't say, you really, really should get out there and paint. For instance, what they really emphasized for us, and we can take that in any direction, was they really emphasized just being really studious. Like, they insisted that we really dedicate ourselves to a strong academic record. If we want to do sports, like, we all were involved in sports. And I remember even going, like, my first interview, I did like a short pre-college program at Pratt University, which was really a lot of help. That was like right after my junior year in college. And I remember the first interview I got from a college, and they remarked on the fact that I had really good grades. They were like kind of surprised that like I'm pursuing an art career, but I actually had like, I was like in like top 20 of my class, and they were really surprised at that, I guess, but they thought it was great. They just kind of noted that. And that's a direct line back to what my parents, enforced.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And just like, and not to like rest on national backgrounds or anything right now, but I feel like we're just in this really interesting, unprecedented time, right? I'm not even unprecedented. It's just like things are coming to a head where we're really seeing the disparity between cultures, races, the way that certain people have had a leg up in this society. And one of the things that I have really come to witness is, being a producer for large festivals, how few people there are in terms of people of color that are doing big art installations. So actually, and it kind of bummed me out, to be quite honest, that you are one of two people in my direct circle that I'm like, fuck, really, are there just so few people? And you went to, a really elite school, RISD is an incredible school for the arts. Did you find that there was a lot of racial disparity there as well, in terms of just it was primarily Caucasian males that are doing big art, that are, able to go to these educational facilities? Or what's your kind of, eye on the scene out there in terms of opportunities for people of color?
Yeah, there was definitely more racial, ethnic diversity at RISD than there is in the immediate festival big art world that I'm involved with right now. Yeah, which is a little odd for me, because it's been 20 some years since I graduated. You'd think there'd be a lot more integration. So on that level, I can see a lot of the, how people are expressing their grievances, right? Is that in 20, 25 years, it really don't see much change. What else do we need to do to get this ship to move? I get that. But on the same token, I would say it seems like there's a lot of focus on what our differences are, rather than what our commonalities are. What is it that actually makes us look at things and experience things in common or unite us, versus what divides us. And it's a little too bad that there's just a lot of with everything that's happening, recently, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of anger there. And I don't know, it has to kind of work itself out and get to a point where we can actually have constructive dialogue again about stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, constructive dialogue. And honestly, I think it's more programming to get people of color to acquire the skill sets to be able to create things like big art, because big art is a gamble. It's a massive gamble of money, time, resources. And I think that's actually one of the reasons why the industry is primarily led by Caucasian males, is because there is, you may have been afforded opportunities to learn certain skill sets, but also there's kind of perhaps this inherent trust that you could fall on a cushion if you failed.
Yeah.
Where I don't know that it's very risky.
It's super risky to, it's risky to be an artist. It's even riskier to be go big doing art, you mess up, you tend to mess up in a big way. It's definitely challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I guess, in that, so you are someone, you've taught at RISD, you taught at USC, and what would you, I guess, be teaching kids at university these days? If you were, I don't know if you're still teaching at those schools, but if you were, what kind of curriculum would you be developing? I think maybe in context to what's happening in the world right now.
Yeah, actually, it was UCSB that. Oh,
UCSB.
Gotcha. I co-taught a course there with a professor, and we were actually doing art in public spaces. That was our intention. And then in RISD, I taught a course in Bolivia. So the work that I did in Bolivia was working with the handicraft sector, developing the artisans, their business models, their developing a lot of the designs, and basically becoming self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the most creative times of my life, was leaving the U.S., I didn't intend to stay away for so long. I ended up being in South America for 3 years, mostly to connect with my family, but I ended up doing a lot of work down there, all nonprofit based. And, it taught me a lot about what making a difference looks like, in a very concrete way. That the things you design, the things that you create or co-create with people can have a very real effect on someone's income, on their livelihoods. And, and so that was like, I don't know, I just really respond to that kind of direct line of communication, cause effect when it comes to art design, which is why I really like, art in the public realm. You have an immediate reaction from the public, from people that see things, and of all races, all types, So if I were to teach now, like if I were to just get into, you can teach anytime, anything, like, if I wasn't so busy with other stuff, like I would just probably just create a series of webinars and, Zoom.
Yeah, you'd have to get on Zoom.
Yeah, no, it could be open to anybody. And, maybe that's one of the bright spots out of this whole, COVID-19 thing is like, you and I are speaking and, talking about this stuff now, but if we have our heads buried in some project in a normal life, and now we've got like a different life in front of us, it gives us maybe an opportunity to use this medium or other mediums to communicate with a whole different sector of people, right?
Yeah.
Like minorities.
Yeah, and I love that you have incorporated your works so much into this idea of like public assimilation, right? And like in your eyes, like how can art like that like save the world? How can art save the planet?
Yeah, I always have a hard time with like save the planet missions. I guess because that's a big one.
Sure.
I always look at things, from just the way I was brought up, the way my family is. Like, it's gonna, artists have a role to play. I see my role, like my real role, as being to inspire, to educate people about something. I chose bamboo and everything that working with bamboo, represents, like teamwork and collaboration and networking, taking risks. The classic aspects of bamboo, of being, trying to be strong for yourself and for other people, but also being very flexible, very resilient. These are concepts that I think are going to have carried us and will carry us ahead. But we can't do it alone. Every big project, you need a collaboration, you need a mix of people, different types of viewpoints and perspectives. And that's really the only way we're going to move forward, is reaching out and networking and collaborating with others to think differently. I don't think the same way as the engineers, or I definitely don't think like architects, a lot of architects.
You've made some really amazing environments that are like, you're putting like shade structures on them. They're like housing, thousands of people at a time. I loved what you did at Oregon Eclipse this year. That was such a special place to watch the eclipse.
Yeah.
Really, really beautiful. And I know that you put so much intention into kind of the wood carvings that were there, and really paying homage to the land. And it was really, really beautiful. But yeah, right. It's like that collaboration of like, that needs to not fly away when it gets hit with all this wind, or not collapse when all of these people are there trusting their lives on that structure. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot to consider, and the bigger the project and the more people that interact with it, the more you need to reach out, and consult and work with the appropriate people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, what about bamboo pulled you in the first place? Why were you just like, I love bamboo? I didn't come at
art or anything with, I'm going to be an eco warrior, or I'm going to recycle everything I do, or anything like that. I really just, when I traveled to Japan in 2000, I went to go visit my sister. She was living there. She was teaching there. I went with my brother and a friend, and I just fell in love with everything that was, you just kept seeing bamboo everywhere. Just kept, even if you don't want to see it or don't want anything to do with it, you're in the wrong country, because Japan is is just a bonanza of beautiful bamboo work.
Bamboo bonanza. I love that.
They would never say that, but that's very nice. But you can ignore it. And then when you don't ignore it anymore, you start really looking at it, and you just start marveling. And from the forests down to the little tiny artistic bamboo split whisks, that are so artfully created. And you start wrapping your head around this material and realizing that here's a people who have embraced it wholly and, in their culture. And it's so natural to them, like their left hand,
Yeah.
And that's admirable. That I found very admirable and beautiful. And that's how I wanted to live. I just want things to be natural and to just flow like that. And, that's what really drew me in.
Well, it grows incredibly fast, right? So your rate that you'll be able to produce with it and like reforest, is it pretty quick? It's
phenomenal. It's not quick. It's phenomenal. It's ridiculously fast.
Wow.
Yeah. When you have basically equivalent of timber, construction level timber that you can build homes with, that is ready in 4 to 5 years. There's nothing nothing exists like that on the planet. We don't have wood. We certainly don't have wood species that matures in 4 years, right? That is suitable for building roofs or wall structures.
Right. Right. Well, and so your love of bamboo has taken you to now this place where you're the president of the SoCal chapter of the American Bamboo Society and an ambassador with the World Bamboo Organization. And I'm just kind of curious, what do you guys meet about? What kind of issues what are you talking about over there? What kind of issues are you guys aiming to solve, or what do you do in these kinds of meetings?
We're bamboo nerds. It's like a club of, bamboo files. And most of the Bamboo Society in the United States was started on a love of the bamboo plant, and so you have people who are interested in the botany of it, the biological aspects, like trading plants. That is beginning to evolve, very slowly but surely, into as the bamboo industry kind of grows and diversifies, and you have people who are not just plant lovers, but people who are interested in timber, construction timber or fabrics, or you name it, or just the general public is inundated with bamboo on a daily basis, I feel like, at this point. So really our goal in the society is to inform and inspire or educate people about the bamboo in any form. So it's, it's a little vague, but it's really like, what do you like about bamboo? There's something for you to contribute and be a part of.
Well, because I know that there are a lot of, we're facing a refugee crisis. Right? People kind of forgot because we're talking about all sorts of other looming issues right now. But I've definitely seen a lot of villages be constructed out of bamboo for refugees, which is a really just practical way of being able to build things quickly, efficiently, effectively to house people. Do you guys ever get involved in projects like that or chats like that?
Yeah, we had one of our board members was involved in a project down in Ecuador, doing workshops on bamboo construction down there. We've had a previous board member also involved in Bangladesh. basically building some of the largest bamboo pole treatment plants, on the planet.
Wow.
Processing thousands of poles a day for the refugee camps down there. So there's a lot going on around the world with bamboo. Mm-hmm. I mean, more than you can process or work on actively in a given day or year. Mm-hmm. Kind of more like just kind of pick your angle, like pick your direction that you want to go, because there's no shortage of workshops or people involved building things or designing things that you could get involved with.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's so beautiful. Like those camps are really like that. That is kind of where the intersection of, what we do, which is we essentially build these like mini cities when we're doing festivals, and doing that. That's that is such like the intersection between the practicality of the art and the skill sets that we've learned, and applying that to real life scenarios. That actually does. We're going back to save the planet.
Yeah, but that goes back to like why I feel I'm here. I'm really, my real goal, like why I do the work that I do is to educate, inspire, and motivate people to get excited about bamboo and start working with it. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but I think I have a medium and a way to open this medium, this material, this plant to so many people, and they can do what they want with it. I think like if you're going to work with bamboo, or you're going to create stuff with it, I think automatically you're on the right track, because it has an inherent advantage as a base material to so many other construction materials, for its growth rate, its versatility, like so many reasons why we should be embracing this material. That but
gonna start putting some dollars into that bamboo stock right now. You've really sold me.
I think I'm missing the boat here. My bamboo PPP loan.
Yeah. Well, and in that like kind of exploration, like what inspired you to start making, because you made these like giant bugs and then these beautiful temples. What inspired you to express yourself in that way?
It's a little bit by it's just like a process of evolution. I'm exploring the material, and I'm also exploring what my personal limitations are. Like, what is it I'm able to do personally? What is the most I can do to build and to design and create these things, and get them off the ground? But a lot of it, it really began with me just exploring the material. I mean, when my first bamboo projects, I was taking the equivalent of bamboo flooring and like bending it and twisting it and laminating it in different ways to make really high-end furniture. And then as I was doing that, I just got interested in the poles and in the craft of Japanese fences. I learned how to do that, and then I just started scaling up from there. Just being more interested in pushing the limitations of like the raw bamboo pole, and what can you do with like minimally altered, the plant, and it just kept getting bigger. Both because I wanted to build bigger, but also because as clients saw that I was building something like, oh, like you can do 30 feet tall, can you do 100 feet tall now? Or can you did 1,000 square feet, can you do us like 10,000 square feet? And I hate saying no. So I was like, sure, I'll figure it out. And so it's a little bit of like, cart and the horse. Like, I want to do this. And then someone was like, I want to do that. And you just start leapfrogging, a bit over yourself.
And so now that we've done we've explored festivals, we don't know if they're coming back. I'm sure they'll come back at some point, but even just like as people, as artists, like in the way that we want to mature, like what are you excited to do with this material next? How are you excited to bring this into the world?
I've got a lot of like back burner ideas, notions about that have been brewing for some time. And so I'm not going to give up doing the event or festival work. I mean, I love it. My core ideals remain the same. You know, I want to reach out to the public. I want to inspire. I want to educate people about the material. I'm pretty open, you know, without getting into like a lot of details about a specific, you know, direction, but I'm pretty open where I want to go with it. I am probably going to be, well, I am right now, like pursuing some more like private works that don't involve large teams, at least large teams like in the same space, building stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess you know what I mean by I'm open is like I'm interested in like pursuing like this technology, you know, video conferencing or other types of social outreach to further educate and kind of have people experience, you know, bamboo and the concepts of like team building and creating stuff. I want to see where that goes. It's incredibly powerful, and I really have not given myself the time to explore it more. So, like, what are the alternatives? I can't teach a giant workshop full of people, or I can't go somewhere, you know, to build like a big install. Then what am I going to do with all this stuff? You know, this knowledge and this material and experience that I'm sitting on. It can't just stay locked up in my sketchbook or in my room. I mean, or my ranch. Got to go somewhere.
I feel like we're all in that place right now where we're all asking the deeper questions of like, okay, now how do I change my offering, since the way that I have always offered this before fundamentally can't happen right now? How do I still get to contribute? And you know, there isn't a singular answer. It's some people have pivoted to digital. That doesn't sound like that's applicable to where your love affair is for bamboo. But yeah, it's a really interesting time where we as artists get to dig down and come back to kind of our original humble roots of like, where did it all start? Yeah, I'm dealing with that myself too, of just like, what the fuck am I doing?
Well, I've always tried to be open to surprises, and I think we're all going to be pretty surprised. Like after this kind of pressure cooker experience that we're all in right now, we're all kind of storing up energy and frustration and like ideas, and it's going to start venting. Like at some point, we're going to start venting hard, and you know, if we can put as artist creators, if we can put the kind of energy and will that you see in like things like Black Lives Matter, you know, these kind of issues, but in our realm, I think we'll see some really amazing stuff coming out.
Yeah. What is one thing that you feel like you've really learned or taken away from this experience of being in COVID?
Man, you got to be patient. You got to be willing to, I don't know. I just draw so many parallels with life lessons from bamboo itself. You know, you have to be patient. You have to be strong within yourself and for like your orbit, people around you. And you have to be flexible and resilient. You know, if you can't do this, you can't go this direction, then, you know, you got to bend and go a different direction. And, you know, I think those are like the main things. And again, like being open to surprises.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I kind of approach design and the work that I'm doing, like bamboo, with the same way that I approach like a relationship. That, like, I want to be surprised. You know, like I want to be open to and be surprised. And you know, if you can like be around this medium. Like I've been working with bamboo for, almost 20 years. And it still shocks me. Like it still throws me. When I learn something about it, like there's only so much information I can process and deal with, like on a certain year, or projects. And this I see as like this time right now, I see as an opportunity to learn something new and different about this material and ways to apply it. I mean, that's definitely been happening with my girlfriend and I. I mean, we spent so much time together. Totally.
And you're just like, right? Just be like bamboo. I'm just gonna sway with it.
She got me to actually like realize that I actually love having a dog. Like, I've never had a dog. I adopted a dog, a shelter dog, and she's amazing. Like, we go hunting together. Like, she just opened up other parts of my personality and who I am that I didn't know were there. I never thought of myself as a dog person, and she thinks I'm doing great, both of them. So
that's cool.
So that's pretty interesting. So I'm thinking of like, I can build we built a little bamboo surround for the dogs. Probably have a bamboo dog house soon.
I want to see what your backyard looks like. Next time we're gonna have to do this Zoom so I could see what all you've made in your backyard.
We saw some bamboo dog bones recently on the market somewhere.
What? Yeah. It really is in your DNA. You've really just gone down that road and committed.
Dog plus bamboo means something. I don't know what's going to happen.
The start of something genius, I'm sure. Right on. Well, hey, thank you so much for sharing your insights and your time with us today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Nova.
And honestly, thank you so much, everyone who you guys are watching. If you are interested in following Gerard and his works, he's on Instagram at bamboo_DNA. It really it helps if you guys subscribe to our YouTubes or social media stuff. I know that those are annoying things to hear, but in this time of COVID, it's a particularly hard time right now for the artists in this industry. So every little ounce of support really means a lot to us. Until then, we'll see you next Wednesday, and stay safe, be kind, and love boldly. Thank you.
Thank you.